You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to Refocused Radio. Once again, we are here today. We have a special guest, just like any other day. We have the one and only Michael Ayala. He is the Court TV anchor and host of the Trial and Error, Why Did O.J. Win? First and foremost, sir, I know you're busy. I just want to say thank you for your time this busy morning. How you doing, man?
I'm doing very well, and thank you for having me, man. I'm really pleased.
Yes, sir. We know you as an attorney, Emmy-winning journalist, and Court TV veteran. Tell us a little bit about this 7-part limited series.
Well, it takes a look at, and the title says it all, we take a look at the trial of O.J. Simpson and why did he win. And we take a look at some of the issues that were presented to the prosecution, how they dealt with it, some of the ways that the defense approached the case, the narrative that they created that helped them win the case, and also some of the issues within the community that created a situation where this jury was willing to take the narrative put forth by the defense rather than the one put forth by the state. Because I believe there certainly wasn't enough evidence to convict here, but there were other factors at play. We take a look at all that.
With this being 30 years of hindsight, what do you believe was the single most critical factor in the O.J. Simpson's acquittal?
Gosh, that's a large question, but I would say the acquittal of the officers in the Rodney King case. I think then the subsequent riots that happened, then you have the decision to bring the case down to downtown Los Angeles. And I think that probably was the key decision, because that jury that you got from that area that was so affected by the Rodney King riots, so affected by the case of Rodney King, I think put them in a position where they were willing to accept, again, the narrative put forth by the defense that this was a framed job by the police, and the relationship between the community and the police in L.A., in downtown L.A., was not a good one. And it made them, open to and ready to accept that argument. So I think that really was the key to the case all along.
You're not just a journalist, but also an attorney. Did your legal background change how you view the trial compared to the general public?
Yes. I mean, I think one of the things that was interesting is, and I just loved watching this trial, was really watching the dream team work, in particular Barry Scheck, who handled the blood evidence, and Johnny Cochran, who really handled the entire dream team. And it was really the dawn of really coverage of trials, the televising trials, putting them on gavel to gavel. And he just masterfully sort of used the media to his advantage, and how not only he commanded the courtroom, but also commanded the courthouse steps, and using the media to get his message out and continue to build on his case, not only in the courtroom, but outside the courtroom. And I think that's my big takeaway as an attorney, is that in many of these cases, controlling the narrative is just as important as the evidence that is presented in court.
Once again, we're talking to our special guest today, Michael Ayala, attorney, Emmy-winning journalist, and Court TV veteran. We're talking about Court TV's new series, Trial and Error, Why Did O.J. Win? This will premiere February 16th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. New episodes air on Sundays. My next question for you is, how do you believe Court TV play a major role in making this trial a media spectacle? Because we know cameras were present, so do you believe that helped or hindered the justice?
That's an interesting question. I don't necessarily think it helped or hindered. I think it was a window into the courtroom. If I were to answer that and say it did have an effect, the only effect I could think it would have, and in speaking to some of the jurors as well, was that there was this sense that the world was watching. And so there was a lot more pressure on the jurors to come up with a just verdict, or, vote in a way that they thought, I don't know if they never said this to me personally, but maybe there was some pressure on them to keep the peace in the community, sort of represent the community in a way that may not have been there had there not been cameras in the courtroom. But I'm a firm believer over the years, and I've been working on and off at Court TV for over 30 years, that putting a camera in a courtroom doesn't change the way trials play out. We become a fly on the wall very quickly. Initially, we're sort of sitting there and people notice us. But as the trial gets going, I think we just become a fly on the wall. And I don't believe it truly affects the outcome of trial. So I'm gonna stick to that and say I'm not sure it had an effect one way or the other.
In the 7-part limited series visiting the O.J. Simpson's 1995 murder trial, when you look at how this series is going to have exclusive interviews with key trial participants, including attorneys, detectives, and family members of the victims, what do you believe could be a public misconception of people might still have with the O.J. trial?
You know, this might not be a popular opinion, but there was a narrative out there that, you know, these were racist cops who framed O.J. Simpson. And I think, you know, in talking to many of the people involved in the investigation, I think that might have been a misconception. I think there were certainly mistakes made. One of the things that were played up a lot by the defense were that, you know, protocols weren't followed. Evidence wasn't locked, you know, put into the proper chain of custody process, things along that line, which happens really once you get to know the justice system in just about every case. But it was really played to great effect in this case. And I think there was this misconception that there was this frame job going on. I'm not sure that that's actually what happened here. So I think that might be one of the misconceptions. So I'm not absolving the LA Police Department for the sins that they perpetrated upon the community, which certainly, I guess, played a part in the thinking of the jury. There were issues there that needed to be dealt with. But in this particular case, I'm not sure that that was the case.
If you can recall memory, understanding, covering the trial, what do you believe stands out and something that stays in memory even today, either inside or outside the courtroom?
Well, I think like everyone else, it would have to be the glove moment. Chris Darden made a unilateral decision to have him try on the glove in the courtroom. He so firmly believed that O.J. was guilty and that those gloves belonged to O.J. Simpson that he didn't think that it would be a problem. And when he couldn't get those gloves on, that was a major moment in the trial, one that I think most people who watch this trial will remember. It's one of those moments where you say, where were you when that happened? I was watching. I was in the newsroom at Court TV watching that at that time, and it was just a stunning moment. It was a stunning moment, and I think probably was one of the key factors in turning the trial in favor of the defense.
We've been talking to our special guest, Michael Ayala, Court TV anchor and host of Trial and Error, Why Did O.J. Win? Premieres February 16th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, with new episodes airing on Sundays. Like I always want to say to you, sir, thank you for your time.
Oh, my pleasure, man. I appreciate you having me.